Hi there, this is Linda and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be unboxing and planning out stories using the quarterly scrapbook kit from Ali Edwards with the alphabet theme from 2024. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Okay, so I believe this kit was quarter 2 from Ali Edwards and it has an alphabet theme. Or quarter 3, I think actually, that this was the quarter 3 kit from Ali Edwards in 2024. And I got the kit, I opened it, looked at it, put it away, and never touched it again. So now I'm planning on diving into it and planning out some stories so I can actually use this kit. Before I plan anything, I'm just gonna talk through the kit and look at what's in here, just to go through and just talk through some ideas, whether or not I use them. So I think one of the reasons I didn't touch this kit at first was because I feel like there's a lot of pieces in here that are great for stash products. So I'm definitely keeping that in mind. Like for example, there's this nice gold alpha set here. I'm probably not going to plan a story around this set because this is just a great stash item to use on a lot of projects. That said, I might use it in some of the projects I plan, but it's not really a jumping off point for a project. So I'm just going to keep that in mind when planning out my projects. So before we get to the papers, which is the main part of the kit, let's talk through the embellishments. So I already mentioned these gold alphas. Then there are these circle story cards. And these guys are fun. They have like the alphabet printed on them. And they're in a range of colors. And I don't even know how many there are. There are a ton of these. And I definitely can make multiple projects using these. I think there's 3 of each color. And then let's see here. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there are 9 colors and there's 3 of each color. So I believe that gives us 27 of these, which is kind of insane. Like that's so many. So I definitely wouldn't use all of these on one project, but these are great for in project life. They're great for traditional layouts, for mini albums. There's so many uses for these. So I will definitely come up with at least one. Then there's this, which I am so excited about this. So this I think is probably the highlight of this kit. There are these large vellum alphabets and there's just a range of fonts and styles in here, and definitely like I guess there's 2 because there's one set that has a black edge and one set with a white edge, right? So these are all white edged and these are black edged. And my guess is there's a full alphabet in each set, but I don't know for sure. So I'm definitely gonna have to go through these and see. I wonder what this is supposed to be. Is that a C or a U maybe? O. So I'm gonna have to go through here and figure out, ooh, I like this X and O together. Ooh, and so these are the same from set to set, just black version and a white version. So I think maybe they are all that way. Let's look, let's find a different letter. Here's D. Let's find the D over here. Here it is. Yep. So there is a full black set and white set of these alphas. And so you have the ability to mix and match. You can use just one or the other. A lot of options. I have to say this T looks like the T-Mobile logo. So if you have T-Mobile and want to tell a story about your phone, definitely that piece right there. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put these back inside this tray. Now it's hard to get them all organized to fit in there. But for now, I'm just gonna put them like this and put that to the side, and let's look at the papers. Okay, so these kits had 12 by 12 papers and 6 by 8 papers. I do want to say if you're new to Ali Edwards, these quarterly scrapbooking kits are discontinued starting in 2025, but there might still be these available on her website, the ones that haven't sold yet. And there also are the digitals. And I believe when you buy the physical kit, you also get the digital kit included. So my favorite part of these kits are the pattern papers. So let's go through the 6x8 first. So we have an A through Z list here, great for a list of, you know, the alphabet. You could do your favorite of anything. You could do a theme, you could do places you visited, a lot of things to do with that. This one is great for handwriting or a school story. Now, 1, 2, 3, perfect jumping off point. I want to remember this, great background. The story, the story, the story. So this one's kind of neat where the words kind of go upside down and they switch directions. I'm not sure if I want to leave it just like that or cut them out. I might want to just cut these out, but this could also be a fun jumping off point. A, B, C, here's the story. So these could be things that start with each of those letters, or you could kind of just treat this as a 1, 2, 3. A fun, colorful alphabet. And then here's that like really wonky font that the C was in that, and it says currently, and then you have an A through Z list. Also a fun prompt page. Then let's look at the 12 by 12. So this paper is so pretty. I kind of want to just use this as just like a pattern paper for the start of an album or the end of an album. I'm not sure, but it's just so pretty. This one is great for a jumping off point to put stuff in these circles. Here's that bubbly font again. I don't know that I'm a huge fan of this font, but I feel like this is better as just as like an abstract, colorful pattern. Some cursive writing. Ooh, I like this one. This one is super fun. Kind of reminds me of Alice in Wonderland though, like falling down the rabbit hole, but just a fun background. And same with this. A lot of these would just be pretty backgrounds. So I'm gonna go ahead and start planning out my projects. I will put you on fast forward while I do that, but before I do, I'm just gonna give you a little bit of an introduction to my process in case you are new to my planning process. So what I do is I sketch out my projects on in my journal here. So this is my craft planner, and I've shared more about this in my monthly setup videos, my monthly plan with me's, where I set this up each month. I also have shared more about it in my 2024 planner journal lineup check-in that I recently shared, and my 2025 one in my 2025 journal and planner lineup. So you can see more about it there. But this is a Hobonichi Day Free, which essentially is a Tomoe River paper A5 notebook that has they have like little quotes at the bottom, but I kind of ignore that. They do have the numbered pages, which is great. And then at the beginning, there are these like calendar pages. So you have these for each month, but then after that, it's just blank journal pages. So I've used this as a craft planner all year, and I plan out all of my projects in here. And essentially what I do, let me just write this. So essentially what I do is I will just sketch out projects that I want to do. I will make a note of the products that I want to include in it, and then I will put them in a Ziploc bag if they fit. The 12 by 12 papers will not fit in the Ziploc bag, so I will just stack them with that Ziploc bag to keep everything together. This helps me actually get my projects done, because when I'm ready to scrapbook, I will come and look at my planner. I will pick out a few projects to work on. I will print all of the photos for those projects or any journaling or anything that has to be done on the computer, and I will stick it into that Ziploc bag with the rest of the products. And then when I want to actually put the pages together, I can just pull out that Ziploc bag and have everything I need there to put the page together. So I'm gonna go ahead and put you guys on fast forward and start sketching out these projects. Then I will talk you through each of them after I have sketched it out. first spread is going to be a Project Life spread for a weekend vacation to Quebec City that I took in October. So it's a Project Life spread, but it's just covering a couple days because we went to Quebec City on a small road trip over the weekend. So my initial thought was I was going to use these letters to either like write Quebec or Quebec City, but I couldn't write Quebec because there's not two E's in the same color, or Quebec City, there's not two C's. I thought about doing just like QC, but honestly, I don't love the font that was used for the C, and it, out of context of a word, it looked a little funny. Plus it didn't fit on one. So I think I'm just gonna do the Q on my title card and put maybe like the dates or write Quebec City in it or something like that. I'm not entirely sure yet how that's gonna look, but that's gonna be the jumping off point for my title card. Then these kits obviously don't have Project Life cards in them, so I have to make my own. What I was thinking is for Quebec City, I have a lot of photos. So I'm going to print my photos, and my spread is all 3x4. I might actually even put an insert. We'll see how it goes. But I'm thinking I'm gonna add 3 of these that have these journal spots on them to add some additional words about what we did. And then 2 more that I can pull something out of my stash, like a chipboard or something to embellish. Then I was thinking I wanted to also pull another card from my stash, because even though I'm planning from a kit, that doesn't mean I can't pull in things from my stash, especially because I'm not doing this for like a creative team or anything. This is just something I'm doing for me. So why can't I pull in products from my stash? Which is a great reminder that if you want to follow my process, but you don't have a kit to work with, you can use stash products to plan out stories in the same exact way. So I went through my journaling cards in my stash of Project Life cards that are related to outdoors and travel. And I pulled 3 that I liked and was thinking of using one of these as my like additional journaling card. And I ultimately chose this one because I thought this would be good for just kind of like a little how we ended up going on this trip and why we decided to go on this trip. And then these ones will be like the highlights of the trip. And I will probably bring in label stickers to add more on top of my photos as well, because I probably will have some additional words to include. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these in a Ziploc bag and move on to my next project. Okay, so my second project is prompted by this page, and I love the idea of this page being a recap of the year. So what I'm going to do is use the alphabet jumping off points to come up with 26 things that happened in 2024, and I will use these letters as a jumping off point. I see it's not going to be, nope, it's right. So I was thinking there weren't all of them, but no, this is the alphabet A through Z on here. So we have 26 things, 13 per column. So I'm going to have to come up with something. So some of them, like Q, it's probably just going to be like quiet days or something like that, or Z, I'm not sure. But I will come up with 26 highlights from this year and put them on here. I'm already pretty sure I can think of some of them from just thinking about the year. Then the other thing I wanted to do was use these letters to write out this year as like a title. So originally I was thinking I would write it like on the second page. So these, to write this year, it's a great balance because they're 2 4-letter words, but they're too wide to fit on a 6x8. So I'm gonna have to go this way with them on the page, which is fine. And I was thinking I could do a spread, but I think what would be even more fun is to put these on top of vellum and stitch them down and put it here on top of this and have it flip out so that you can read the list. So there won't be any photos on this page. It'll just be kind of like a recap. And I might even make this the final page in my album. I'm not sure yet. I can't remember off the top of my head if I already planned a page for that. I don't think I did though. So this will either be that final page or it will be close to the final page in my 2024 part 2 mini me album. So I'm gonna slip this in here and move on to the next one. Okay, so my next page, and before I talk about it, you saw me try out a few different things and move away from them. And that's just kind of sometimes how this process goes. Sometimes I'm trying things out, don't like how they are coming out, or it's not really coming together, and I move on. That doesn't mean I won't go back to that idea. I was thinking about using this one as a jumping off place for all the projects I'm working on. And then I wanted to write the word projects with these large letters, but it was too big to pair with a 6x8. And I didn't love the way that the letters looked together. I don't have all of the black ones that I need anymore to write projects because I used some of them in a previous spread. That's okay. I moved away from that, and I want to just do a simple November recap page using this. It says now, and just do like 3 stories about November 2024 in my mini me album. And I'm just going to pair it with a full page photo. I was looking to see if there were any embellishments I wanted to include, and I think it's just going to be this one. So I'm just going to put that over there and move on to the next. Okay, so for the next one, I am soft launching my 2025 lineup, which I already did in one of the Story Kit classrooms. But essentially, my plan for 2025 is to expand my story albums to different sizes. So I'm going to do a 10x8 mini me story album, and I will share another video with my 2025 craft plans that will share a little bit more about this closer to the new year. But for now, what I'm sharing here is that I'm doing a 10 by 8 mini album, so I can expand my stories to a 10 by 8 size as opposed to just a 6 by 8. So I was thinking about stories I wanted to include and things I want to tell. And right now I'm looking ahead to 2025, planning projects for 2025. And one of the things I want to do is kind of some longer reflective journaling about my goals for 2025 and my one little word, which is going to be pause. So you saw I originally had written out goals, but then I realized I'd probably rather write pause, and I can't write both of those because they were using some letters, the A and the S, that I also had used in this year, and you only have one of each. So I decided I'd rather write pause, my one little word, and use that to be the top of some journaling. And then on this side, I'm gonna just crop this down and have it just be a big, bold, colored paper in here with nothing going on. I could see maybe putting a photo on it, but I don't think I will. I think I just want it to be a resting place in the album, kind of like a pause. And I'm hoping that adding things like this into my mini me album, reflecting on my one little word, will help me focus on it, because the past few years I have chosen a one little word, but I have not participated in the class content from Allie Edwards. I just had too many projects, but in 2025, I want to refocus on my word, still not doing the class content from her, but I want to include it in my mini album. So I think that this is a good way to kind of launch that with a page near the front of my album. So I'm gonna put these into a Ziploc and stick it on top of this paper here, because just to remember that goes with it. And I did write on there bold black alpha because I know it's going to get separated. And you know, I could have used the black outline ones, but I don't think I have all the letters because I used some of them in this year for this spread. And I could have made this one the white letters, but you know, I think I'm happy with it like this. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put these over here in my stack and move on to the next one. Okay, so I'm focusing a lot on wrapping up 2024 stories and going into 2025 stories. So I'm thinking for this one, I'm using this I want to remember paper as a jumping off point, and I want to print some Instax photos and just like staple them on here that represent 2024, and just pick 4 memories. And then I'm going to cut the story out of here. I'm not sure which one, maybe the green one. And I'm going to stitch the letters to the top of a piece of paper that has just journaling. I'm going to do some long form reflecting on 2024 and like the lessons I've learned and that type of thing from this year. So I'm just going to go ahead and put these 2 in a Ziploc and move on to the next one. Okay, so keeping with the theme of recapping 2024, I am, for my next page, doing a page of recap of home projects that I did this year. So in 2024, I really focused on improving my house. And one of the things I've kind of been a theme throughout the year has been a lot of like redoing rooms and stuff, and I've documented those here and there, but I want to do a recap of everything I did in 2024 surrounding my home. I love this paper. It's super cute, so I don't want to cover it too much. So I think I want to just put like an Instax of my house here. For whatever reason, I've really been feeling Instax photos again lately. And leave that pretty much as a background. On this side, I'm going to put a grid of square photos on white cardstock, so you can see. Have some plain white cardstock here. So it'll be a grid of photos that will just be like different rooms of my house of what I've done. And then I'm going to cut this in half and have it be like at the top and the bottom for a title and some journaling. I might do an insert with longer journaling, but unsure if I will. I'm just going to put that here, insert with longer journaling, in case I want to like actually detail what has actually been done as opposed to just the simple photos. But I'm just going to put these two things into a Ziploc for this one and move on to the next. Okay, so I struggled with this paper a bit because I tend to not scrapbook 12 by 12 anymore. I don't have any 12 by 12 albums except for my daughter's albums, and I'm not doing a ton of stories about her these days because she's in college. So I'm going back and filling in older stories, but I don't really have any at the top of my mind that I wanted to do. And I know I've used a similar layout to this in her album before because hers is the only 12 by 12 album I have. Every time Allie Edwards comes out with a page that uses a similar layout to this, I use it in her album. So I was kind of over that idea. I decided though that I can crop this down to 9 by 12. So I'm going to have to cut 1.5 inches off each side. And that will make these circles like less than a full circle. So it'll be about there. But that still gives me a decent amount of space, and I actually like the way that looks. So my thought was this kind of looks like a Venn diagram, and I love the J. I think that's my favorite one of the letters in this, and I really wanted to use it. And my initials are LJ, so I thought I could put my initials in the middle and use this to kind of tell the story of like pieces of me and all of these things that are overlapping. So I came up with 9 like pieces of me, and some of them are more like personality or like likes and that type of stuff. And I'm going to either put photos or journaling in these. I probably will do a combination of both overlapping here to make a page about me. And this will go in my 9 by 12 stories album. So I'm pretty excited about that one. I'm going to put these two in a Ziploc and then just put this with it. Okay, keeping with the recap theme here, one of the big themes of 2024 was also travel. So I want to do a recap of all of the places I traveled in 2024. And I tried to think of how many there were. I think there were 11. And so I have all of these circle cards here, one for each location that I went to. And my idea is I'm going to put a circle photo of me in that location, or just the location, I'm not sure yet, inside of here, and then add the words that say where it is on these. I'm going to create a title that says let's go using this GO, and I'm going to add a little like type journaling box just to write something along the lines of 2024 was a year of adventures. Here are all the places I went, or something like that. And then I'm going to use these two papers cut up to make 6x8s and 4x8s. Yes, because I should be able to do a 6x8 and a 4x8 out of this paper without any problems. So I will have to like alternate. So these two are on one side, then they're on the other side. So I'm going to use these two papers. I'm going to write that here. Yellow. And this will be just a colorful, fun spread. So I'm going to put these in a Ziploc and put these over here and move on to the next. Okay, so the next one I'm going to do is going to be a 2-page 6x8 spread with this on one side, this on the other side, so I'll have to crop this down. And then I'm going to put these on here for like an XO title, and I'm going to put a smaller like subtitle on here, say like always making, or so many projects, so little time, or something along the lines, because the whole idea of this is I have so many projects in progress at all times. So I'm going to put a photo of my craft space on here, and then I'm going to use this as kind of a fun alphabet of writing in the projects I have. So obviously like P will be project life, J will be my journal, so things like that. Some of these I might not be able to come up with anything, or I might have to do something a little silly to fill them all in. Some of them I might just skip, but we'll see how many projects I actually have in progress, because it is a lot. I have a lot of things that I like to do. And this will be kind of a fun one. So I'm going to put these in a Ziploc, and I'm just going to leave this one whole with it. Okay, so I've planned 9 projects. One of the things that I kept forgetting to say was I wrote out the alphabet here twice, one for the black letters, one for the white, and I'm putting dots over the ones that I used so I know which ones I have left. So when I'm trying to decide like, oh, what word can I write? It's easier to look at this. I circled that Y because I cannot find it. I was looking everywhere and it might pop up at some point, but for whatever reason, I couldn't find the white Y. I'm sure it's around here somewhere. So if I do locate it, I will make note of that. But for now, I've decided that I've planned out 9 projects. I think that's sufficient. So I have a lot of these letters left, and I have 2 6x8 papers. This is a prompt one. I usually like to plan something for prompt ones, but nothing's really coming to mind for this one right now that I really want to tell, and I don't want to force it. So I'm going to put that one in my stash. Like I said, this is great for a school or like writing thing. Maybe I could tell a story about fountain pens, but I don't have an idea right now. So I'm going to just leave this and move on. So then I have this scrap of this one because I used some of it in another spread. And then I have a few of these left because, like I said, there were so many of these. So these will be good story cards to go into my stash. And these I never intended to plan for because those are just such a great stash product. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the rest of these products back with the kit that I planned. So I have all my planned projects here. And actually I might want this X rather than the black X in here. So I'm going to do that. And I didn't mark those, so perfect. I will put XO, there we go. So these are all the ones that haven't been planned. I'm just gonna put them in this tray with the rest of the kit, because as I'm working through these projects, I might decide that I wanna pull something else in, or I might come up with some other ideas. And then once I've finished all the projects, whatever's left will just go into my stash. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this gave you some ideas for how to use this kit or how to plan with a kit. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I always love every time I hear from you guys in the comments. And I hope to see you guys all in the next one. Thank you. Bye.